Welcome to Thronecast, the official guide to Game of Thrones from Sky Atlantic HD. We've just watched episode 6, The Climb, and coming up, John Bradley, aka Samwell Tarly, talks about being grumpy in Iceland. Grace Dent is here to get to grips with matters, and Elio and Linda explain Bolton and Dondarrion. And stick around for a first look at next week's episode. Now, who wants this ladder? Blimey, poor Roz. Let's not remember her like that. Let's remember her at her best. Flashing her tuppence from the back of a wagon in Series 1. And still, I was more comfortable seeing Roz's corpse all strung up like that than I was seeing Brienne in a dress. She did not look happy. Oh, I was excited this week when Gilly, Crester's daughter, asked Sam to sing her a song, and then I was disappointed when he started. His voice wasn't that good. And surely if there's one thing that we've all learned from TV talent shows, it's that chubbier people always reduce us to tears with their beautiful voices. Oh, and I'll tell you what, it's a lovely view from the top of that wall, isn't it? I just wish the wildlings and the crows would learn to get along, and they could open a visitors' centre and a cafe up there. Oh, and Ygritte, what is this thing that she keeps talking about, that Jon Snow does with his mouth? Is it this? Come here, you! Giz a kiss! And now to discuss The Climb and all the other bits in The Climb, that rare enough thing, a woman who lives up to her reputation, it's Grace Dent. Hello. Hello. Oh, what about Roz then?
Yeah, I'm not very happy about that at all.
No.
I loved her. I loved her. I loved her journey. The way that she came from kind of being, but a lowly hooker.
Yeah.
And, and she had a brain on her. And I mean, I'm not entirely convinced that the women that she was looking after in the brothel all had fantastic lives. But,
But maybe she improved things slightly
for them.
Yeah,
she did. And she had a good heart. And I liked the way that, she seemed to be using her brain. Did you not think in this episode there was a lot of quite poor, beleaguered men who seemed to be getting stuck with women?
Yes.
That they'd really, you could just see was going to be misery for them. So, you've got Samwell and say her name, what's she
She's
called?
called Gilly, Crester's
Gilly,
daughter.
I can never remember her name because she's so awful. I just like, and then you've got...
So you can't see the attraction there?
Oh.
You wouldn't want to be around that campfire?
And then to see John with Ygritte. Now, as far as I can gather from this storyline, I don't know how to put too fine a point on this. He appears to have given her oral sex, and now it's changed, it's blown her mind so much that she kind of was almost like up in his face while they were putting those snowshoes on going...
Yeah, because she's been around the block a few times as well. She's made that abundantly clear. And there you've got Jon Snow, who'd never been with a lady before, who's very gifted in that area.
And also very brave, because that woman had had a bath for quite a long time. And now she's kind of up in his face going, we are betrothed forever. And I was thinking, this isn't what a man wants to hear after what could have really just been a one-night stand. So I'm not sure whether I'm wholly behind this love story at the moment. I just found it a little bit Mills and Boon by the time they'd got up to the top of the cliff. But
they were taking in the beautiful vista.
Exactly, and but it's Game of Thrones, and I've got an unquenchable thirst for this show. So I'll go back, but I could do with a little bit less of that.
Lovely, Grace. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, if there was one man you could choose to keep you warm at night as you trudge through the frozen forest of the north, who would it be? Of course, it's Samwell Tarly, purely due to the amount of heat he generates. And here's the man with the fire behind the heat, it's John Bradley. Hello, John Bradley.
Hello, Geoff.
How have you been since we last met?
Since we last met...
You've been keeping all right?
Been keeping all right, stopped sweating.
Yeah,
Stop sweating.
I mean, I didn't like to say anything. I think you've lost a bit of weight since last we saw you.
It was on that day that I've lost a bit of weight, all in sweat. It was, I don't know, I've just for regular viewers, it looked like it was this week's thrilling instalment of Geoff Lloyd's sauna hour. But no, that's all stopped.
Congratulations.
I've knocked that one on the head.
Well done. It's really, really working out well for you. Do you think if you met Sam, you'd like him? Would you be mates with him?
He's nice, and he's a very nice man, but I don't think he'd last 5 minutes with my mates.
Right.
Yeah, I reckon if you cracked a gag with Sam, I reckon he'd take it to heart, the poor lad.
Take it personally.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Sam is, when he comes into episode 4, he gets beaten up instantly, and then he's on the ground, and then they say, get up and get another beating, and he tries to get up. What an idiot.
He is an idiot. You hate him.
I don't hate him.
I know. In the book that the new series follows, he becomes one of the point of view characters.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you when we spoke to George R.R. Martin, he
Yeah.
said Sam is the character he most identifies with.
Yeah.
Does this new prominence, does that affect things for you? Does it change things for you?
It affects my demands. No, it doesn't. I mean, because Sam's character has grown as my familiarity with him has grown. When I go back to Sam, it's quite a comfortable place to be, Sam, because I think in terms of, even though he's a damaged character, he's a bit of a damaged case because of all the things that have happened to him and all the problems he's had to face. I think he's just nice.
He is just nice.
And one of the simplest characters in terms of outlook and attitude, because he sees problems and he wants to solve them.
And were you stuck in Iceland again, the whole job, the whole lot of filming?
No, we were out there for maybe a week.
Is that all?
Yeah.
And are you a Nesh person?
Nesh?
Yeah.
Come on, Geoff.
See, I was testing then because it's a particularly Mancunian word, Nesh.
Oh, does it mean like soft, like?
Kind of. It's a bit like Mard, but it's specifically to do with the cold. It's people
Nesh.
who get cold when they're not that cold.
I've got a lot of natural insulation. Put it that way.
Right.
It staves the cold off.
You would have made a good Eskimo.
I've made a great Eskimo. And the fact is, if I'm walking through snow where you've got to lift your feet 3 feet off the ground and your legs disappear and you're creating a big dent in the ground with your weight and your cloak. Once I get up there, you know yourself the amount of heat I blast out. I'm melting.
We've switched the central heating off in here at the moment. Just living off John.
I'm melting snow for like a 5 feet.
In fact, the Icelandic government have asked if you'll stay and clear the roads in the winter.
Just rolling down the roads.
And Iceland's such a beautiful country.
Yeah, it really is.
Did you see one of the great natural phenomena of the world, the Northern Lights, while you were there?
Well, it happened while I was there.
And you went out, you thought, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm going to look up in the sky and behold one of nature's greatest phenomenon.
Eventually, I got dragged out. I was in a bit of a mood.
What were you in a mood about?
I don't know everything. If I'm away from home for a long time, I start listening to a lot of the Smiths, and I get a bit down about it. So, and I was missing Manchester, believe it or not.
I do believe it.
And as and somebody said, "There's Northern Lights outside." I went, "Oh God!" And then when I was on the way out, one of the Icelandic crew, in the nicest way possible, just went, "Welcome to Iceland," like that. I just went, "You what?" It was like, the thing about me is I take a lot of cokes in to do things.
Yeah.
A lot of the other guys would go into a natural spring. And somebody said, "Can you sum up a natural spring in 5 words?" And I said, "Hot, eggy hole in ground," which is pretty much what it is. It's red hot water that smells of sulphur.
Yeah.
And you've got to crawl down. I say crawl. You've got to slide down into a cave.
And there's all that mud at the bottom and stuff?
I mean, once again, I can have the same experience without the cave bit in the bath.
John, thanks a lot.
Cheers, Geoff, mate. Lovely.
And you can see the whole of that interview online at sky.com/Game of Thrones. Now, he was willing to risk our freedom and our lives for the chance of a prettier wife. Well, we're lost. Let's see how it worked out for him. It's Elio and Linda from Westeros.org. Hello.
Hi, Geoff.
Hello. So, first up, I want to ask about Lord Bolton. Who is he exactly, the one who's freeing Jaime?
Yeah, well, his name is Roose Bolton, and he is one of the more formidable and important lords in the north. He rules the seat called the Dreadfort. The Boltons are a very old family. They were once rivals to the Starks 1,000 years ago, but now we're vassals. Roose Bolton fought with Eddard Stark during the war against the Mad King. He's the one who sends his bastard son to deal with Winterfell when the Iron Men took it. And they're the ones who sent the report back saying, it was been burned down and Theon Greyjoy is missing. And
let's get religious. Let's talk about some of the Lord of Light stuff. So we saw Thoros of Myr bringing Beric Dondarrion. He's been back from the dead I don't know how many times. Why is Beric Dondarrion important?
That's a very good question. I mean, he's the guy who was sent out by Ned Stark in the first season to deal with the Mountain, and he tried to deal with the Mountain killed him, and then another few people killed him again and again and again. He does seem to be a very persistent fellow, doesn't he? Now, the thing is that Thoros, he seems to be praying over him and basically trying to bring him back, but that is actually part of the sort of death ritual of a priest of R'hllor that he would perform for his companions, and Thoros wasn't expecting it to work the first time he did it, and it was just part of the ritual. He said the words, and then all of a sudden Beric comes back to life, and he keeps doing it every time Beric dies, and Beric comes back to life.
Weird, it's like the Lord of Light really must like him.
Yes, or dislike him perhaps, because it doesn't seem to be a very nice existence, having parts of you chipped away slowly.
Yeah, so he's not been allowed to rest in peace.
Exactly.
All right, Elio, Linda, thank you so much.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Our pleasure as always.
And that's it, that's all we can squeeze in. We'll be back after next week's episode of Game of Thrones, and here's a sneaky look at that. It's episode 7, The Bear and the Maiden Fair.
You cut me loose on the wall. People kill each other when it suits them. She knows it. Don't you worry about your friend. We'll take good care of her. The Red God is the one true God. Who's yours?
Death.
We don't need Yunkai. They have strong walls. They'll chip away at us, man by man. If blood is your desire, blood shall flow.
I hope the Lannisters kill you all!
Mercy! No!